Hey everybody, I'm Jacki and Jim with Jim Vejvoda, and CBS announced that Ethan Peck will be the new Spock for Season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, and this is a pretty big development here.
It is. I mean, Spock is the biggest legacy character yet to appear on Star Trek Discovery. Y'all might remember that Star Trek Discovery takes place in the same kind of timeline as the classic series and Next Gen and all the movies except for the J.J. Abrams movies, which is the Kelvin timeline. And that was the one with Zachary Quinto, of course. Leonard Nimoy originated the character of Spock, and Ethan Peck will be playing basically the younger version of the Leonard Nimoy character. We already knew going into Season 2 of Discovery that the Enterprise was going to be on there. Of course, they showed up, spoilers, they show up at the very end of Season 1, and that Captain Pike, Spock's previous captain before Captain Kirk, we're going real deep here, Craig, is going to be on the show. So we are getting now Spock at an earlier phase in his career than we've seen before. Even the Zachary Quinto Spock was just about the Leonard Nimoy version that we met in the original series. He was just like about a year or so removed from when we would have met him, probably, I'm guessing. So this is going to be a version of Spock that is closer, I wonder, to the character that we first met in the very first ever Star Trek pilot. And he was a very different Spock. He was more emotional. He yelled his orders at people, and he like played with flowers and laughed. And you know, maybe they won't go there with that character, but that was the Spock that knew Captain Pike. So it'll be curious to see sort of what they do there. And also, too, not to totally monopolize the conversation here,
you're good.
But you know, the Michael Burnham character, the main character in Discovery, you know, of course, is Spock's human foster sister. So it's going to be really interesting to see that relationship and how they explore that.
We were talking earlier, this foster sister that just kind of came out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, and of course, we talked about that with the first season because Sarek, Spock's dad, and Amanda, his mom, were both on there. But now we're finally getting like Spock having to deal with a sibling that we never knew from 50 years of Star Trek stories that he had. We knew he had a brother, a stepbrother, or a half-brother, I should say, Sybok, but less said about poor Sybok, the better, I suppose.
Okay. We're kind of going off here.
But, I could do this all day.
I know, right? Well, Leonard Nimoy, I mean, obviously we love him. He's the original. I thought Quinto did a very good job,
me too.
So tell me, how are they going to do it different this time, though?
Yeah, why have another Spock? I think because, kind of as I was kind of alluding to in my earlier statement of, maybe we do get to see that Spock that is maybe struggling even more with his human side, like Nimoy's Spock and Quinto Spock, but Nimoy's Spock in particular, so many storylines were dealt with him struggling with both his human side and his Vulcan side. And you know, that first pilot, they always kind of try to explain away why Spock was like laughing and or yelling orders and like far more emotional than we'd seen. So it'll be interesting to see if they even try to explore any of that. But also too, just like Spock's feelings about having this sibling that he never mentions in 50 years of stories. I mean, that's been the biggest thing that fans have said is he never once mentioned this person, so what happened? So maybe we'll get an answer to that. Okay,
so what are your thoughts about Ethan?
I think, look, I don't know enough about Ethan Peck except I've watched some video interviews with him and some clips. His grandfather is one of my favorite old school actors, Gregory Peck. And he's got that cool voice like Gregory Peck, and and Nimoy had that cool deep kind of baritone. So I think that's cool. He looks the part, and if he's anything like his grandpa, he's probably a fine actor too. So fingers crossed. I wish him well.
Yeah, I mean, if he's anything like his grandpa, I mean, we're talking about an epic actor there. We will see how Ethan does. And for more on Star Trek, make sure you check out our video on Patrick Stewart coming back as Captain Picard, and also our Season 1 finale review of Star Trek Discovery. And be sure to follow and subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch. See ya!